You absolute tit.
I didn't realise this till I was about 14 and I was doing a room plan. I was trying to redesign my room and I wrote it down. And my mum was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Chest of drawers." And she was like, "You are a bloody donut." Welcome back to another episode, guys, with me and Hayley. Now, what have you been up to this week? Anything more than last week? Because last week, I'm pretty sure you said nothing.
I think, oh my God, I have done something. I was trying to think what I'd done. I've taken, we took Loki to the sea.
Ooh.
He's finally been to see the sea.
Did he go in the water? Well, not allowed yet.
No. He wasn't allowed at the time, but wouldn't have put him in anyway. It was extremely choppy.
Okay. Yeah.
But
probably
yeah, we took him to the sea.
Probably best not to lose him after only like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. No, don't. I would be heartbroken.
Yeah, well, I'd hope so. Well, I mean, on the same subject of Loki, I actually met him this week.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. That was awesome.
As cute as he looks, and he is also a cheeky little shit.
Yeah, he is. So true. So true.
Not only have I met him for the first time, I did my first weights workout in 2 months since the gym's closed, thanks to your weights. And I absolutely died. Like the session was fine. Like, we smashed through. Like, I did struggle, but I didn't go too heavy. And 2 days later, and even now still, oh my God, like my body's in bits.
Where's the worst bit? Is it like your chest?
My chest was sore, my shoulders, and my biceps.
Ooh,
oh my
really?
God, my biceps every night in bed. Like they've been in so much pain, and then when I wake up, they're so stiff, and I can now like stretch them out, but before, not good. But the best bit about the workout was like we're trying to do chest press, and like Loki would run in and just like lick or bite your like ears, and we got like a heavy ass weight on a bar, and we're like I like can't put the weight down because like he's there.
Honestly, he agreed with you. He's a little shit. I agree there.
I can see how it's difficult to work out with him around.
Yeah, I have to kick him out sometimes.
But apart from that, I have just been getting ready to move house because I moved house this week.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So next week it'll be a different location, new room. Maybe it will be nice, and maybe it'll be worse. We'll see when I get there. But on to today's episode. So today's episode is a bit of a part 2, really, I would say. Last week we dived right into protein. We gave you everything from what it is, when you should eat it, how much you should be getting, all of that good stuff. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, it's definitely like the part 1 of today. So you can listen to it afterwards, but make sure you go and listen to it. It will really complement this episode. So to start off this episode on carbs and fats, why don't you tell us a little bit about what they are, or what carbs are to start with?
So carbs, no matter what some other people may say, are the primary fuel source. So our main source of energy. They come in, so there's 2 main categories. Don't know why I call them categories, but you know. So we've got simple and complex. Simple is obviously your fast acting, use there and then energy source, and then you've got your complex, which is, as it is, more complex carbs, take longer to digest, and the energy from them is stored for later use and stored for other things in your body. Also, carbs, if you didn't know, guys, it's for every gram of carb, 4 calories, just like protein.
Very important to note. These things are actually super important to know that carbs and protein are the exact same amount of calories per gram, and you'll hear later what fat is, because fat is the one that's different.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's good to know this because sometimes, like, I don't know if you're the same, Jake, but sometimes when I give clients calorie targets, they kind of, and obviously I try and give them a protein target and stuff, they get a little bit confused. So sometimes it's good to understand like how many, can't speak, how many calories are in each macronutrient, so you can kind of split it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So give me some examples of simple. Go.
Simple carbs are your fast digesting carbs, so sugars basically. So like a simple sugar. Haribo, yeah, sweets. Even your sugar that goes in your cup of tea, your a can of Coke, or even like fruits, because they do digest quickly as well. So that's your simple carbs. Complex carbs, on the other hand, are the slower digestion ones, like you said. That would be things like your rice, your pasta, potatoes. They're like the starchy carbs, basically, and vegetables.
Oh yeah, vegetables. So carbs are obviously, as I said, best for energy, but they are also good for digestion. So carbs includes, you've got your fiber in there, which is obviously mostly from your vegetables and things like that. So that's why it's good for your digestive system. So obviously, if you were to cut out your vegetables, cut out your carbs, you might find that your bowels are pretty crap. Not got good. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I was trying to say it. I was trying to say it in a nice way then, but I couldn't think. But yeah, basically your digestive health, if you don't have carbs, is pretty naff.
Yeah. Whatever's coming out would be less pretty than it already is.
Basically. Exactly. And let's be honest, another good thing carbs are good for is just like, it might sound silly, but your mental health. I mean, I know I feel so much better with some carbs. Don't you though? Like if I cut out carbs,
well, if you cut out carbs,
I just don't feel as happy.
If you cut out carbs, you wouldn't have a donut podcast. That's for a start.
Well, exactly. 100% we wouldn't have a donut. But yeah, it's good for your mental health too.
Yeah. How much should you eat?
So that kind of depends on everyone. So obviously we kind of say that protein has a more of a specific amount. Then carbs is each to their own. Like everybody's different. I would always say have some, but obviously the amount depends on the person. If you were an athlete, you would make sure you're eating more carbs, because obviously being the primary fuel source, that is super important. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for the general population, however you feel.
I think that's one of the main things where you see a lot of people being like low carb diets, all this like cut carbs to lose fat, or like all of that. It's like it doesn't feel as good. And I've like eaten low carb diets, and I've eaten high carb diets, and I eat how I eat now, which is kind of what you said, just like how I feel. It just like it feels so much easier to do any kind of diet, or like whatever your goals are. It feels so much easier when you include carbs in the diet. It really, really does.
100%. And your social life is so much better when you include carbs.
Yeah.
Like no one, like what can you possibly do with someone if you're not eating carbs? You can't go out for like, I don't know, what if someone said, oh, do you want to go out for drinks? Can't go out for drinks.
Do you know what? I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but it always makes me laugh when I think about this time. I dated a girl once when I was eating keto. And so keto is just like basically no carbs, super high fat. And like it was such a pain in the ass. Like the poor girl, we went out for like brunch, and I was just like so picky about what I was eating, and I was not only was like I being picky, like she still ate what she wanted, and I was just probably sat there the whole time wishing I was having pancakes and whatever she was.
Yeah, not having a clue what she's talking about. You're just like dribbling over her pancakes.
Yeah, that sounds dirty.
Yeah, oh
Dribbling
no, it
over her
doesn't
pancakes.
actually. Oh
No,
god.
but yeah, like carbs are super, super important. And trust me, from someone that's eating keto for a long time, it's not worth it. And it's you just miss out on living life if you don't eat carbs, really. So what was
Yeah,
then?
and also, yeah, exactly. But also, carbs are so for example, someone who's doing weightlifting or you enjoy doing like high intensity workouts, sprints, things like that. Carbs are your best source of energy for that. So carbs are still good for like you long distance running and stuff. But for example, the energy required for bench pressing, that's like why I've literally lost all my words, but like short bursts of energy can't be fueled by fats.
100%.
It can only be fueled by carbs. So super important for someone weightlifting or sprinting, etc.
So a big population of people that weightlift, the bodybuilders. One thing that I want to touch on, it's not really a supplement per se, but one thing I've always included in my diets when I'm on a bulk is these two carbohydrates, and I put them in my shake, so I class them kind of as a supplement. So the first one is instant oats. I know you can definitely get these from My Protein. They're super, super cheap, and all they are is oats, but ground up to a fine consistency so that you can just put them in a shake. So that's a good way to increase your carb levels. And I only touch on this with bodybuilders because for a lot of people, it's really hard to get enough calories in when you're bodybuilding. So this is like a simple hack to make your protein shake way, way more calorific. And another thing that I like to put in mine is maltodextrin, which is a simple carb. So the oats is a complex carb. It gives you energy over a longer period. And the maltodextrin is a simple carb, really good to have straight after a gym session when you're like when your body's like depleted of energy. Simple sugar straight in that protein shake also adds a bunch more calories. So if you're bodybuilding and you want a high calorie shake, don't go for those pre-made ones from these companies that put loads of crap in it. Make your own with a protein, complex carb, and a simple carb.
That is a good top tip, Jake.
That's my
talking about carbs. Talking about carbs. Let's eat what we've got in front of us.
Yeah, and I think this is a first to our podcast. We have different donuts today.
Yes, we do.
And this is going to be a common theme going forwards now, I think.
Oh yeah, it is, of course, because when you move, we're not going to be able to get the same, really.
Yeah,
unless we do some like delivery stuff, order online things.
Every now and then we might be able to, but I'm kind of out in the countryside a little bit. I don't think I can get Deliveroo where I'm going to be, because there is Deliveroo in Winchester, but like I'm quite far out. I'm sure that they don't deliver that far out, so we're going to see. So we're going to have different donuts going forwards.
What have you got?
I have got one of the most basic bitch donuts I've never actually had before, but I'm kind of excited for it because I do like these basic ones, and it's just a ring donut from Greg's with the icing on.
Ooh, nice.
Get that close to the camera. What have you got?
Ooh.
Your one definitely looks nicer than
I have a Krispy Kreme. It's a ring filled with Nutella and raspberry.
I love the way you say raspberry. Raspberry. This that donut looks very good.
It is.
My donut's pretty good actually. I rate that from Greg's. And also, I'd like to say mine was a 2-pack and it was £1 for 2. So 50p a donut, you really can't complain.
No, you can't actually. That's really good. I'm gonna give this a. It's good, but I've had better, so I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
Maybe a
I'm
7.5.
I'm gonna factor in the price into this one and the ease of getting it because Greggs are everywhere. I'm gonna give it a 7 as well. Also, it's a pretty basic donut, but it's a very solid choice. I'm gonna give it 7.5 as well. I think for 50p, that's a solid donut.
Yeah, that's a winner. 50p.
It is.
Compared to this.
It is a winner. Whilst we keep
Question.
eating it, on to questions.
Okay.
What?
Who's going?
Well, I'll just start. I've got one loaded up. Have you ever lied about your age?
No.
Never. You're a liar. Don't tell me you never tried to sneak into a club underage.
Oh yeah, of course I have.
That's lying about your age. But
Oh yeah, of course I have. I didn't think about that.
I know what you mean though. Like, have you ever lied to someone about your age? I feel like
yeah, of course
I might have though. I might have lied to a girl when I was younger to pretend I was a little bit older.
You're hard. What is your favourite item of furniture?
I don't know. I don't really have much furniture. I have a bed and I have a... I'm going to say this. It's not my favourite answer, but it's my favourite name. And it's the chest of drawers.
Why is that your favourite name?
Because when I was younger, for a very long time, I used to think it was called Chester drawers. Like it was made out of Chester wood. So it was like called Chester drawers, not chest of drawers.
You absolute tit.
I didn't realise this till I was about 14 and I was doing a room plan. I was trying to redesign my room and I wrote it down. And my mum was like, what's that? And I was like, Chester drawers. And she was like, you are a bloody donut.
You ironic.
Yeah. Okay, so on this, before you answer your favourite piece, do you know, like, is there anything else like this that phrases where you say incorrectly or have said incorrectly, or do you know anyone that says things incorrectly and it took them a long time to work out what these things were?
There is, I'm sure there is I have definitely done that before.
So for anyone listening, you must have friends that have done this. I've got so many I can think of. And if you've got any examples, then message us on our new Instagram, Donuts of Fitness. So we now have an Instagram dedicated to this account. It's all about, it's going to be all clips from the podcast, just fun things all related to our Donuts podcast. So message us on there with your stories of your idiot friends or your idiot self.
Yeah, please do, because I love silly little things like this.
Yeah, I've got a friend who thought until maybe year 11 that a camera was a canra, like CANRA, canra.
That is so weird.
That's dumb. Another one.
That is ridiculous.
The same guy. I'm not going to out who it is, but baked beans. BATE beans.
Baked beans. What among? Who thinks of baked beans?
So honestly, me and the boys have had so many discussions about this, and you don't realise how many phrases people don't understand. Like they think they're different things. So please message us because this one could be really funny. And
this could be really funny.
We'll put some of them out next week. But yeah, favourite piece of furniture for you?
Well, it's a bit boring now after you've just said that. I would say my bed, if I'm honest. I absolutely love getting into bed.
Yeah, I don't.
And especially like the bed, like the new one that we got. When did we get it? Like towards the end of the first lockdown, we got this bed, and I love it. I don't want to, when I'm in it on a weekend, I don't want to get out of it.
I mean, I just have shit furniture, so like I can't give a good answer. But if I could, it would be like a nice chair in like the living room. If I had a living room. From next week, I will. Right, question number 3. Do you sometimes reread your favorite books?
No. I am really crap at reading. It annoys me. Every time I say, oh, yeah, I'm going to get into reading, I don't, and it annoys me. So, end of story. No, I don't. Do you?
I agree. I am shitter at reading than I should be. But I would say, yeah, I've got so many books, and I actually have reread some of the ones. Like, I do this with films as well. I'd rather watch something that I know is good than watch something new that could be shit. And I do it with books as well. But then I do have a couple like fitness books and books that I know are really good, have really good information in that I go back to. I don't really read fiction books, like storybooks.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. Oh, I'm rubbish at reading. It annoys me because I want to be better.
Okay, that's a challenge. Challenge to you. Let's read more. Challenge to both of us.
Yeah, that's a good challenge, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How many different words or phrases can you think of to describe rain in English? Let's both think now. Drizzle.
Okay. Probably a lot. And I don't think there's a lot.
Pouring.
It's like raining cats and dogs. It's kind of a bit different. Pissing it down.
Yeah. What did I say? Drizzle, pouring.
I think we're at 5 there, or 4 or 5. I would say it's shitting it down.
I've never heard it shitting it down.
I think anything it down is
lashing. It's lashing it down. Spitting.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there lots of like drizzle and
there's so much there's so much in English. There's so many different like phrases like this where there's just so many words.
It's weird.
What else is there? There's loads. You can. It's one of those phrases where I feel like you could say anything and people would understand what you're saying.
Yeah, no. Have we got one more question?
Is it my question? Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Do you ever go to stand-up comedy shows?
Yes.
I do. Any shows that you can remember that are memorable?
Do you know how bad is this? I've got the crappiest memory.
I forget comedians' names all the time.
Jason Manford was funny.
Ooh, yeah, he's funny.
Good one. Who else have I seen?
I think comedy shows are one of the things that I've been to a few, but definitely not enough. They're one of the things that give me like so much happiness in the moment. Like, crying with laughter is such a good thing to do.
Yeah, 100%. But one of the best ones I went to was, I know they can be a bit hit and miss because sometimes but just one of them like not famous stand-up comedy nights.
Yeah.
Like I went to last time I went to one of them was when I lived in London, and I can't remember which place it's called, but it was really funny. There was I think there was 3 different ones. There was this Turkish guy on it, and I can't remember his name, but he was hilarious. I love it because when they're that small, they find a person that looks funny in the audience and they rip into them, and I think it's brilliant.
You're right. Those little like sweatbox ones are really good. I used to go to one in Greenwich with my mate when we were at uni. And we were like poor students, and I think it was free to go in on a Sunday night, or it's like £1. It was one or the other, I can't remember.
It's super cheap.
The beers were expensive in there, so we'd go to Weatherspoons across the road, get 3 bottles for £5, and then we'd put them in our like waistband and then walk in, like kind of making sure the bottles didn't fall out our waistband, and like we'd sit in there with our cheap beers. Like we were such cheapos, but that place, there were so many good people there. It was all like mostly unknown comedians, and then there'd be the odd like famous person would just turn up. So we saw some really good people.
Yeah, Oh, that's something actually I want to do when we can start going to stuff again. I'm going to book like some tickets for some stand-up comedy. I think
100%.
I need a sit down with some drinks, wetting myself.
100%. I'm with you on that. I'm 100% booking a comedy night. Anyone that hasn't been to a comedy night, what are you doing with your life? Go and see one once we get back to normal.
Yeah. Right, we have totally swayed from the podcast here.
As we always do.
Is, as we always do while eating donuts. But let's talk about the other macronutrient, fats. Jake, what is fat?
So fats do like multiple different things. They provide energy. They make and balance hormones. They form cells, our brains, and our nervous system. They transport some vitamins around the body. And they also give us fatty acids such as omega-3 and omega-6. So omega-3 and 6 is something you find in fish. And if you're someone that's kind of that doesn't eat fish, or if you feel like you don't eat enough, I think the recommended amount of fish is at least twice a week. So if you feel like you don't eat enough fish, then that is somewhere where you could supplement, and getting fish oils as a supplement is a really, really easy way to get some healthy fats in your diet.
Yeah, I think that's a super good little tip there, is because a lot of people don't eat fish.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't eat, especially like, fair enough, some people might eat some fish, but like a lot of people don't eat that like salmon or mackerel and stuff where you get a good amount of them omegas from. So I think that's perfect.
We're going to do a supplements episode in the next couple of weeks. So we will dive a little bit more deep into like what you should do or where you can get supplements from and all of that. So don't worry too much about it, but it's definitely something to think about if you're not eating fish regularly, and also if you're not eating other fat sources regularly as well. So what kind of other fat sources are there?
So avocados, that's a popular one.
Yeah, love it.
Love an avocado. Then you've got like nuts, seeds, oils, coconut. You've got like, obviously follow on from nuts. You've got your nut butter, all things like that. You can class meats, so your fattier pieces of meats. So maybe instead, like if you were to have chicken thighs instead of chicken breast, you've got more fats there. I think that's it. Oh, dairy and eggs, things like that. I don't know why I forgot that. I eat eggs every day. I don't know what I'm talking
there's
about.
quite a lot of fat sources, and also there's lots of different types of fats, which can get confusing. But it's just good to note that you should be eating like a range of fats in your diet. Like you should have some in your diet, and it's not like just eating carbs and protein isn't a good idea because of the things I mentioned. Like there's so many things fats are good for, and important things they're good for. It's not just providing energy, like they really do important roles in the body. So you definitely want to make sure you're having a range.
Especially for, and like you said in carbs, you gave a few little top tips. Like for women, lots of women see fats as making them fat when they don't. So they eat very little. Whereas like I've seen it with a couple of clients before. Once I've started like not telling them to eat this and that, but start slowly changing things with their diets and stuff, they begin to feel so much better. And especially women, because like, although men obviously have hormones too, but women tend to struggle with them a lot more. So once you're eating the fats again and you're eating a good amount, you'll feel so much better.
100%.
Like you'll feel a lot more, what's the word, leveled out.
Yeah.
Like you won't feel as like up and down. Like I know it sounds silly, but honestly, I did it as well. I used to like ages ago eat very little fats, and then once you start slowly increasing them, you won't realize it until kind of like maybe a month down the line. You look back and you think, oh, I started increasing my fats, and oh my god, I'm nothing like that crazy woman I was a month ago.
Exactly. And I think another thing for I've noticed in guys and in my own like training and that is that eating fats, especially like healthy fats, can be really, really useful to up your calories as well. Because sometimes when I keep going back to like bodybuilding type, but like if you're in a stage where you're trying to add a bit of muscle, so anyone, whether you're female, male, like whatever, like wherever you're trying to add muscle to your body, you do need to add calories to your diet. You do need to eat in a surplus, and sometimes just getting them from protein and carbs is really difficult for the fact that they're both only 4 calories per gram. So sometimes having some fats in your diet or having a few extra fats, not only will you get all the benefits that you've just mentioned in like hormones and everything else it produces, it will up your calorie amount as well. So it's really
What
worth.
is the amount?
So nine
calories.
calories per gram. So one thing to notice there is that is more than double carbohydrates and protein. So for every gram of fat you have, you're having more than double the calories. So you do just need to be careful with how much you have, but definitely don't cut them out completely off of that knowledge. But you do have to be careful if you're in a fat loss phase. You definitely want fats in your diet. Like you said, you've mentioned to loads of people to add more in, but I think this is why it's important to track more than anything. It's not, you wouldn't want to get rid of it.
100%.
You wouldn't want to get rid of fats, but it is important to track because you could go a little bit crazy if you were eating a super high fat diet.
Yeah, 100%. I literally forgot what I was going to say. I was going to follow on from there, but that's just gone. So I'm going to forget about whatever that was. It'll come back to me in a second.
Maybe you've had.
But yes, go on.
I was going to say you've had a low fat breakfast morning, and your brain isn't functioning as it should be because it's lacking the fats it needs.
Ooh, actually, I haven't, because I had some. What have I had? I've had eggs, and I've had some smoked haddock.
Ooh.
So I've had my fish.
That's very good. Very good.
Mayonnaise.
Yep. The only fats I've had today, I had some peanut butter.
Ooh, nice. Good
I
shout.
like to.
I can't have that because I just can't buy a jar.
So your problem with this is you love peanut butter so much that you would go through a whole jar very quickly, and it's super high in calories.
Yeah. You see, some people might say like when I've said that to someone before, like I can't buy peanut butter, they're like, why? Why are you depriving yourself of something you like? Because that is super bad. Like, as in, if I was to sit there and eat, like I'm holding up a can of Pepsi because like that's the same size as some jars of peanut butter. But if I was to sit and eat that, that is like probably nearly my daily intake of calories here.
You're talking about
well, I'm not good.
You're talking about the peanut butter,
Yeah.
not the.
Not the Pepsi. I hope not, because that's my second one.
Yeah.
But like, that's why, and it's just like, and I have goals in my head of where I want to be and stuff. So if I sit there and eat a jar of peanut butter, that's not going to be good for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's really sensible. Like, I know you, and I know you're really good with your food, your diet. Like, you have a really good range of stuff. Like, so it does take a while to find that balance between understanding that you need fat in your diet and then understanding that certain high calorie foods such as avocados, peanut butter, all of this, you do just need to be careful with. Like, you can't just go crazy with everything. Even though these things are deemed health foods, you couldn't just go and just have lots of these foods in your diet because you probably would consume too many calories. So yeah. Like, reaching your goals, you do just have to put some effort in and kind of track and do all the things that are necessary.
And have a good balance of these 3 macronutrients we've just gone over in the last 2 episodes. So make sure you listen to last week's.
Yeah.
And listen to this week's again. Listen to it, like, don't just listen to it once, because especially not an episode like this where we're giving you some facts maybe that you need to have a think about and maybe change, that will help you change some ways that you live your life with your foods. But so give them a few listens and really understand what we're talking about and what we're trying to tell you.
Yeah. So just as a summary, if you want to dive a little bit deeper into some of this, or if you just want this in written down format, I have an old PT. I'm getting confused now. I have an old PDF that was available as an ebook. It's not actually available at the moment, so I'll make it re-available. It's called it's called Fat Loss Without Food Loss. And it basically, everything we've said in these 2 podcasts, it puts it down on paper. So I'll make that available. So if you want to just DM me on Instagram, I can send it over to you. It's completely free. But just a couple of summary points that I've taken out of that book is that unless you are an athlete, don't worry too much about your carb and fat ratio. So for just your normal person, if you're Haley, if you're Jake, if you're Richard from down the road, whoever you are, if you're not an athlete, then just eat what you want to eat in the ratio you want to eat it. And if you're feeling hungry, if you're feeling like you're lacking energy, have a few more carbs. Don't really stress about it. So as long as you feel energized, you'll enjoy your fat loss journey, basically. So if you're looking for fat loss, then just make sure you're feeding yourself enough carbs to be happy, and enough fat for your brain to be happy. And
your journey will be a whole lot easier.
A lot easier. And then the last one is that fats are essential to live. So don't get on the no fat hype train. So all of these people selling these like low fat diets or like super low fat diets, don't get on that hype train. Fat is essential. Make sure you include it in your diet.
Yes, guys. Listen to Jake.
For once.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And we will see you next episode.
See you next episode.
Guys, if you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thank you.